I set up a trap to cheat with a younger guy to make my husband jealous just because he became attractive, but in the end he packed his bags and left me alone in the ruins of the love I destroyed myself. My name is Rosalba, 25 years old and married to Ramon, who is 29. We have been together for 5 years and married for 3. He was always an overweight man since I met him. When we started dating, he weighed 165 kilograms, although that was never a problem for me. On the contrary, I always found his way of being charming, funny, relaxed, with a peculiar self-esteem that combined with a lot of tenderness. I remember that at the beginning he would say things to me like, "How lucky that a girl like you noticed this chubby guy." He said it with such a genuine smile that it did not sound sad or defeated, but as if he were truly grateful. I would reply that it had nothing to do with his physique, that I liked him for how he made me feel, for his sense of humor, for his way of seeing life. And it was true. Ramon was the type of person who laughed at himself, who always had a joke ready for any awkward moment. When we went to gatherings and someone made an out-of-place comment about his weight, he would usually get ahead of it with a joke and manage to elegantly divert the attention. It seemed that nothing hurt him. He was one of those people who are big in every sense: body, voice, presence. He always hugged tightly, and I felt safe in his arms. I am not going to lie, his weight brought some practical complications. For example, he could not accompany me on long walks because he got tired very quickly, and we avoided physical activities due to his limited endurance. Sometimes he snored so much that we had to sleep in separate beds, but those were small things to me, because the love I felt weighed more than that. Everything changed last year, when in a routine checkup, the doctor diagnosed him with pre-diabetes and mentioned that he had clear signs of fatty liver. I remember Ramon's face perfectly when we left the doctor's office. It was not that of someone scared, but that of someone who had just woken up from a long dream. He said nothing on the way home, and that night he spent a long time on the computer, researching metabolic diseases, diets, cases of people who had managed to reverse those diagnoses. The following week, without me insisting, he completely changed his lifestyle. And when I say completely, I am not exaggerating. He gave up sodas, sugars, flours. He started preparing meals that at first tasted like nothing, but that over time he learned to enjoy. He would get up early to walk, then to jog. He exchanged television for health books and exercise channels on YouTube. He learned to cook with ingredients that I did not even know existed. His discipline was admirable. I accompanied him throughout the process. At first with enthusiasm, then with a certain distance, not because I did not want his well-being, but because his new routine became so strict that there was no longer room for spontaneity. Ramon stopped being that relaxed man who ate pizza with me on Fridays and ordered donuts on Sundays. Now he analyzed everything, counted calories, weighed his food, and if we were invited to dinner, he brought his own food. I was proud, of course. I saw him losing weight, and I encouraged him. I told him he was achieving something incredible, but I also began to notice small changes that were not just physical. He did not make jokes like before. He became quieter, more serious. When we talked, the topic often revolved around his process. How much had he lost? What muscle was he working on? What supplement was he trying? There was nothing wrong with that, I know, but it was hard for me to find the old Ramon in this new version that was so determined, so focused, so different. Now he weighs 96 kilograms. He has lost almost 70 kilograms in a year. The change is impressive. His face has slimmed down, his body has taken shape, his arms are firm, and his back looks broad. He no longer wears special size shirts. Now he buys clothes that fit him well, that he likes how they look. He learned to style his hair differently. He even started taking care of his skin. I do not know when it happened, but there are days when I look at him and I cannot help but think, this is not the man I married. And the worst part is that other women notice it too. Sometimes we go for a walk in the park and I see how some girls look at him. Sometimes they even smile at him. He does not respond to them, of course. Ramon is still faithful. I have never discovered anything strange, no messages, no suspicious attitudes. But that does not prevent what I feel. I no longer have the same control as before. Not possessive control, but that confidence of knowing that I was his everything. Before, he used to look at me as if I were a miracle. He would repeat that I was too much for him, that he hoped I would not get tired of him one day. Now, although he still tells me he loves me, he no longer says it with that tone of surprise or gratitude. He says it with security, with firmness, as if he now believes he deserves all the good things. And maybe he does deserve it, but it is hard for me to say it. That scares me because I fell in love with a tender, insecure, funny man who is big in body and heart. And this new Ramon, although physically healthier, emotionally is someone I do not fully recognize. He no longer needs my hugs to feel sufficient. He no longer seeks my approval. It seems that now he is the one who approves, and I do not know if I want that. Update. I have read many of your comments. Some were empathetic, others quite harsh. I was surprised by the number of people who called me controlling, toxic, or who said that my fragile ego could not stand that my husband is now attractive. And yes, of course, I understand from the outside how it can seem like that, but not everything is as black and white as they paint it. Someone wrote, "Your problem is that you can no longer control your husband like before, and that makes you feel insecure." And what is wrong with wanting to have some control in your relationship? Is that not normal? Should it not be like that? Of course I want to control my husband. Who would not? I love him, and feeling that he is becoming more independent, more attractive, more desired, is difficult. It is like seeing how someone who is only yours now belongs a little to the world. And the worst part is that he is not doing anything wrong. That is the most frustrating thing. I cannot blame him for anything specific, but I still feel like I am losing him, even though he is by my side every day. We recently had a fight that ended with us leaving the restaurant before even ordering. And although I feel a little bad about how I reacted, I also think it was necessary, because if I do not set certain limits, who is going to do it? It was a Saturday night. We went to a new restaurant that he had found online, a modern place with a healthy menu. I did not really feel like going out, but he insisted because a couple's night would do us good. We sat down and started looking at the menu. He, as always now, was looking for the salad section. He does not even ask anymore if I want to share something or if we are going to order an appetizer. He goes straight to his own thing. While he was reviewing the menu, a waitress approached, a young, pretty girl, with a uniform that was not exactly discreet. "Do you have any questions, sir? Or would you like a recommendation?" she asked him with a smile that I noticed was too friendly. Ramon looked at her a little uncomfortably and replied, "Do you not have any salads?" Then she took another step and stood right next to him, leaning over to point at something on the menu. Literally, she was almost on top of him. Her cleavage was right in front of his eyes. It was not even subtle, it was brazen. "Of course," she said, "this one here is one of the best. I highly recommend it." I tensed up instantly. I saw how Ramon leaned back, moving slightly away from the seat. "Thank you, I will consider it," he replied very politely. "Only if you can move back a little, please." She laughed softly as if nothing had happened. "I am sorry, sir, it will not happen again." And that is when I exploded. Not at that exact second, but it felt like a slap in the face. Not only because she dared to get so close, but because he did not look at me. He did not seek my gaze. He did not realize how I felt. He acted as if it were just a funny anecdote, as if nothing was wrong. When she left, I asked him, "Did you notice how she looked at you?" "What? Who?" "The waitress." "Ramon, she got in your face with her cleavage as if you were a damn main course." He made a face as if to downplay it. "Do not exaggerate, Rosalba. She was just being friendly, and I moved away." "No, that does not matter. The important thing is how you let her. How did you not put a stop to it from the very first second? What did you want me to do? Push her away?" I was polite. I asked for space. "What more do you want?" "I want you to behave like someone who has a wife sitting next to him. I want you to look at me and make me feel that you respect me when a woman like that approaches you." He sighed, left the menu on the table, and leaned back in his chair. "This is not about the waitress, Rosalva. This is about you and what you have been feeling for months. No matter what I do, you are always going to think that I am about to betray you. And what do you expect? That it does not affect me that now everyone looks at you as if you were fresh meat? That I should keep pretending that nothing has changed? I am not fresh meat. I am your husband, and I have not given you any reason to doubt me. You became another person, Ramon. You are no longer the man I married. He looked down. For a few seconds, he said nothing. Then he looked me in the eyes and in a low voice said, "And you are not the woman who supported me unconditionally? You do not look at me with love anymore, Rosalva. You look at me as if I were an enemy." That phrase hurt me because in part it was true. I myself have found myself checking his phone for no reason, asking him questions disguised as jokes, doubting his trips to the gym. And he has not done anything wrong, but I cannot help it. I felt a knot in my stomach and my face was burning. I got up, took my purse and said to him, "I do not feel like having dinner with someone who lets himself be flirted with in front of me. Seriously, you're going to leave because of that." "I am not leaving," I replied. "We are leaving because I am not going to stay here watching you act all interesting while other women look at you as if you were single." Ramon said nothing more. He got up, followed me, and we left in silence. We did not talk in the car. At home, he locked himself in the study. I went to bed without dinner. The next day, he acted as if nothing had happened. He greeted me with a kiss on the forehead and offered me coffee. And that made me feel even worse, because it seems that he is already on another emotional level where fights do not affect him, as if I were the only one who still feels anger, insecurity, jealousy. I love him very much, but I also feel that I am starting to hate him a little. And not because he has been unfaithful to me or because he is a bad person, but because he no longer depends on me and I still depend on him. And that is driving me crazy. Update. I continue to read the comments, although I no longer know if that is helping me or sinking me further. Some of you are cruel, really. You have called me insecure, controlling, narcissistic. And someone even said that they hope he finds someone who truly values him. It hurt to read that because it made me wonder if I really do not value him anymore or if I am simply struggling not to feel invisible by his side. Amidst so much hatred, there was a comment that made me pause. It was from a woman, I think her name was Carla or something like that, and she said, "Friend, do not let that overshadow you. Show him that other men can like you too. Make him feel that you are slipping through his fingers. Make him feel that he does not have you for sure." I do not know if she said it as advice or as a provocation, but it struck a chord with me. I kept thinking about it all afternoon. Maybe that was the problem. He felt that he already had me completely for sure, as if I had no option to leave or to be desired by someone else, as if he were the only one who could evolve, change, become desirable, and I had remained frozen at the same point. That night I decided to put it into practice. I took a shower, I waxed, I put on lotion, I dried my hair patiently, I did my makeup carefully, something I had not done in a long time. I put on a black dress that I had forgotten in the closet, one that cinched my waist and left my shoulders bare. I put on heels, I put on perfume. When I came out of the room, Ramon was in the living room with Leo, our dog, watching something on TV. He glanced at me, then looked again. He paused, smiled. "You look very beautiful, love." "Thanks," I said, taking my purse. "Where are you going?" "To a party. Claudia invited me. Just some friends." He nodded as if nothing was wrong, almost calmly, and said, "All right, love. Take care. Call me when you leave so I can pick you up." "Yes," I froze. I was expecting something else, a reaction, a minimal sign of jealousy, of concern, something. "Is that all?" I asked. "What else do you want me to say?" "I trust you. Just take care." "What? Is the other one coming over?" "Sorry. Some little slut around here? You will tell her you have the house to yourself." Ramon frowned, but he did not get upset. He just sighed. "No, love, I am not bringing anyone over. I am just saying have fun and that is it." "Yeah, right, very understanding. You are not fooling me. Someone is going to come over." "No one is coming over, but if you want, you can stay and check." That was like gasoline on the fire. So that was your plan. I knew it. I knew you were waiting for me to leave to open the door for some stupid girl. "Rosalva," he said with a tired tone. "Really, go if you want to go. I am not stopping you. Do what you want." Just like that. "You are not going to try to stop me." "No, Because I am tired of you thinking the worst of me every day. I stood there looking at him, and for a second I felt like I was going to cry, but I swallowed my tears and said to him, "Perfect, I am leaving, and I hope you do not do anything stupid." "All right. Go." I left, slammed the door harder than necessary, and got into the car where my friend Claudia was. She already knew everything. I told her during the afternoon what I was planning. We were not really going to a party. We were just going to drive around, have a light drink, and then come back. But when I got in the car, I told her I had a change of plans. I was going to come back in an hour to surprise him, to check if anyone arrived, to catch him if he did something weird. "Rosalva, are you sure about this?" she asked me, a little uncomfortable. "Yes, I just need to know if he does it or not. I want to see it with my own eyes." We drove around a bit. We went to a nearby coffee shop. An hour passed, then another. I sent a message to Ramon saying I would stay longer and that he should not come for me. He just replied, "All right, baby. Have fun. I love you." Claudia accompanied me back to the corner of my street. We parked the car on a side street where it could not be seen from the main window. We turned off the lights, and there we were. 2 full hours watching. Not a single person arrived. No one rang the doorbell. No one approached the door. Everything was silent. Claudia fell asleep for a while. I was still awake, looking at the clock, looking at the entrance, waiting to see a silhouette, but nothing happened. I gave up. Almost at midnight, I returned home. I opened the door carefully, trying not to make any noise. And there was Ramon in the living room with Leo asleep by his side, watching Netflix. He looked at me with calm surprise. "You're back so soon." "I just came to get something I forgot," I lied, pretending to look in my purse. "Oh, okay, everything is fine." "Yes, of course." I went up to the room, changed, and sent a message to Claudia thanking her. I felt defeated, but above all empty, as if I had lost a battle that was not even real. A few minutes later, Ramon came up with a bottle of water. "Here," he said. "Drink a little so you do not wake up with a hangover." I did not drink, I replied without looking at him. "Thanks. Is everything okay?" "Yes." "Did you have fun?" "Not much." He nodded, left the bottle on the nightstand, gave me a kiss on the forehead, and went to bed without saying anything more. And I am here writing this, feeling stupid, because my plan, I did not manage to provoke him, I did not manage to make him feel insecure, I did not manage to regain control. He was respectful, he was calm, he was faithful. And yet, I am angry because it seems that nothing affects him, as if nothing I do hurts him anymore. I feel alone. Not because he has left me, but because it seems that I am no longer fighting with a partner, but with a mirror. And in the reflection, there is only me. Update. This will be the last time I write here, or at least I think so, because I feel that there is nothing left to be saved. Because this time I messed up really badly. I do not even know how to begin. I guess I have to admit that my fear, my jealousy, and my insecurities got completely out of control. Everything they told me in the comments, what I refused to accept, was true. And now Ramon is gone. And the worst part of all is that I was the one who pushed everything into the abyss. A few weeks ago there was a guy at work. His name is David, he is 19 years old. A kid, literally. For months he had been dropping hints, giving me compliments, telling me that I looked good in a certain blouse, or that he liked my perfume. I always ignored him, not because it bothered me, but because I never took him seriously. I knew he was just playing at flirting. But after everything that happened with Ramon, after the night I tried to provoke him with the party thing and got nothing, I started thinking about what that woman said in the comment. Make him feel that you are slipping through his fingers. I could not get it out of my head, and I made the worst possible mistake. I decided to use David to provoke jealousy. One day at the office, I approached him. I asked him if that invitation to go out for a drink was still on. He was surprised, but he smiled. He told me, of course, whenever I wanted. I told him the next day, during lunch hour. I made sure it was at the coffee shop that Ramon always goes to, the one near his work, the one he frequents every Tuesday. Yes, I planned it that way. It was dirty, it was cold, but in my head it made sense. If he saw me with someone else, if he saw me smiling with someone else, Maybe it would awaken something in him. Maybe he would feel that he was losing me, that he no longer had me for sure, that he had to win me back. We sat at a table on the cafe's terrace. David was talking about nonsense. I was barely listening to him. I was looking at the clock. I was nervous. I was waiting for the moment. I was waiting to see him appear, and he did. I saw Ramon crossing the street with his thermos in his hand. He was coming alone as always. When he saw us, he stopped for a second. Then he kept walking, entered the cafe, ordered his food to go, and before leaving he approached me. David fell into an uncomfortable silence. Ramon looked at me with an expression I could not read. He did not seem furious or jealous, just disappointed, tired. "We will talk about this at home," he said without raising his voice. And he left. My heart dropped to the floor. David asked me if everything was okay. I told him I had to go. I apologized. I took my things and ran out. When I got home, the silence hit me in the face. The bedroom door was open. Ramon was packing his clothes in a suitcase. There was another smaller one next to it with Leo's toys, his leash, his bed. "What are you doing?" I asked him, my voice already breaking. "I am leaving," he said without looking at me. "No, wait, Ramon, it is not what you think, please." "What is it not, Rosalba?" "It is not what it seems?" "Because what it seems is that you are seeing a 19-year-old kid in the same place where I have lunch every week." It seemed like a trap. Was it? I did not know what to say. The words would not come out. "It was a trap," he repeated more forcefully. "Yes," I finally blurted out. "It was a trap." He fell silent. Then he laughed without joy. "Why?" And then I could not hold it in anymore. I cried, I let it all out. I told him everything. I told him what I have been feeling since he lost weight. That I feel insecure, invisible, replaceable, that I no longer feel like I have him, that I am afraid someone else will see him and take him away, that it hurts me that he no longer needs me like before, that he does not feel fragile or small, or dependent on my love, that now he feels strong, free, and that makes me feel alone. I told him that I love him, that I do not want to lose him, that I did all of that just to get a reaction from him, that I wanted to see him fight for me. He looked at me, not with hatred, with sadness. "And what do you propose to solve it?" he asked me. I went blank. I had no answer. The first thing that came out of my mouth was the first thing I thought of, the most stupid, the most desperate. "I do not know, maybe you could gain weight again." He laughed, a bitter laugh. It hurt me more than any shout. "I cannot believe you are saying that. I cannot believe it." He continued packing. He did not say anything else. He just bent down, grabbed Leo's leash, called him. The dog went with him without understanding anything. I stood in front of the door. "Do not go. Please, Ramon, do not leave me." "I am not leaving the woman you were. I am leaving the woman you have become," he told me, looking me in the eyes one last time. And he left. Now the house is silent. The bed smells like him. But his toothbrush is no longer there. It is not there. The space where Leo used to sleep is empty. The television is still in the living room, but no one turns it on. And I am sitting here on the floor, feeling like the most idiotic person in the world.